What's good? It's Ozman the Wizard.
And Naima.
This is not
Not
another damn
another damn
podcast
podcast.
presented by our
Our
damn.
damn selves.
So 358.
Wow. Okay. Right, because last week was pow pow.
357 Magnum.
Pew pew pew.
7 Magnum, baby. That's what I called it. Said 357 Magnum, baby.
Pew pew pew.
Yeah.
Oh, now 358. Wow.
Yeah. Is that the I'm going pace bus again for my locals? It's like, yeah, is that the one that runs down Torrance? I don't know. It's like, I think I don't remember. I don't
I think.
know. I know that's one of the pace buses out in the south suburbs. I couldn't tell you which one though. Yeah, I think it's the
I
one that
think so. Like I'm trying to
goes River
I'm
Oaks.
trying to like
I
backtrack in my
I think it
mind.
goes towards River Oaks, but I'm not positive
I
on it.
think so too. I remember like taking the bus used to like take like 2 hours, 3 hours to like go. You know?
Yeah, and we didn't live, and we live far south over east. Like yeah, so because we grew up in the '90s and shit. So and it took 2 hours to get to River Oaks on the bus from there. It's like they
Now you're driving a car, it's like 15 minutes. It's like, wait, what is this? The car is like,
20 minutes with traffic and shit. Yeah.
right.
It's like 2 hours and shit.
It's all about perception. It is. It's about like what your like everybody's
Yeah. I haven't ridden
journey.
that bus in years. That's why I couldn't remember what it was. But I remember, I think 358 was the one that ran over that way. But
Hmm. I think so. Because I haven't, yeah, bus in years.
especially a fucking pace bus. 20 years. I don't remember less. I couldn't tell you. It's been a long time. Like Rakim. Definitely been a long. So what's good, kid?
uh Hoping that this weather is like finally trying to break for real because
Got some good weather. It's
it's
getting good
feeling,
because when you start smell, you can smell the barbecue in the air. I was like, oh,
yeah,
I smelled
I
it.
definitely
Yeah,
smelled some people.
yesterday for the first time I smelled it. Yeah,
Mhm. And I saw some butterflies like around me, like the butterflies were like
I
just
saw,
fluttering
saw a
over
couple of
me.
monarch butterflies. Yeah,
Yeah. So wherever I see butterflies, I get happy because I'm like, okay. I'm like, we're getting closer to summer. Like it's spring now, so the kids are itching to want to go outside. Like we had a couple of nice days and then the temperature dropped and I'm like, and it rained and I'm like, can we go? I'm like, no, you can't go outside. No. What? It's like once the weather breaks, you'll get to go outside more. You just gotta be patient. You just gotta bear with it. We live in Chicago. I just have to keep saying that to the kids. We live in Chicago. This is what it does. Like you have the sneak
mm.
where it's like, oh, it's nice. And then it's like, no, it's not. Oh, it's nice. No, it's not. And then finally when it gets nice, then it's, you know, but nothing more beautiful than driving. Like I say, you're hitting Lakeshore Drive during a nice day in Chicago and just looking at the people along the lakefront. Like we saw this weekend, we saw people flying a kite. We saw people riding their bikes. We saw people jogging. We even saw some people hanging out at the beach. I'm like, and Ari was like, "Ooh, let's go." I'm like, It's not beach weather yet." I was like, "We're not going to the beach yet. It's not beach, not yet. You gotta slow it down a little bit, sweetie."
I saw folks at the golf course. Yeah. I
Yeah.
hadn't
Hmm.
been yet, but I did see folks out there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So gradually, we'll get there.
Mm.
We will. Mm-mm-mm.
I was looking at this breaking story right here about the shooting in Chicago.
Uh-oh.
The back of the yards area Saturday night. Says
Mm.
one killed and 10 other people, including 3 children, injured in the shooting in
Oh
the
my gosh.
neighborhood Saturday night. 52nd and Damon, like in that area.
Jeez.
The victims were at a family gathering when the shooting happened. 18 rounds were fired off. Multiple people got shot. It's crazy. Yeah. 8-year-old girl died. That's sad as hell.
Oh my God.
A 1-year-old and an 8-year-old boy were shot, but are critical condition right now. and others like 9-year-olds like suffered a minor wound, and then others were like adult victims from 19 to 40. Police said witnesses saw a black sedan drive up and someone from inside fire multiple shots before driving off. Yeah, this wasn't a random. This wasn't random. That's like a drive-by or some shit.
Who shoots up a family gathering with children in there? Like, who does that? Like, that's
Probably with the ops or some shit like that. And
like
then
whatever beef you have. I mean, but whatever beef you have with
spray
somebody,
up the block and shit, man.
it has to be a like, okay, like,
Gotta have a code and shit. You don't spray
yeah,
up the block.
at a family gathering. Just so sad. I hope that they catch whoever the
I really
perpetrator was,
like,
perpetrators, you
yeah,
know, because with cameras being everywhere, like ring cameras,
yeah.
security cameras on
Lamp
businesses,
cams, like everywhere is cameras.
traffic cams,
Gotta be
the lamp cams on the street lights or whatever.
something hopefully captured this. We got
Hmm.
phone. Maybe somebody was filming with their phone. Hopefully, like yeah, like
Hmm.
the speaking of cameras and like shoot shots fired, like let's talk about the big story right here. Um, I know you heard about this one right here. Dexter Reed, 26-year-old Dexter Reed, the police shooting that took place in March.
I heard, I heard about it, but I haven't watched the footage
Oh,
yet.
I
I
watched
haven't watched.
all of it from every angle. Yeah, it's like I watched okay, here's cop number one's badge cam, cop number two's badge cam. There's about 5 different angles I saw of this, including a camera like from like it had to be a dash cam or one of them lamp cams, which caught the wide shot of everything. Yeah.
Mm.
I watched from every angle of it. And like what people are talking about because what the story is like the 96 shots in 41 seconds. That's what everybody's talking about. It's like what no but what they not talking about is like dude popped off 11 shots himself. Like it's just it's like
He shot 11 shots?
got off
What?
11. Like he popped off here and shot first. And that's when they lit him up. It's like it's conflicting stories about what led to him getting pulled over. Some are saying it was a seat belt, but he had very dark tints on his windows, so it could have been that. It's like, and then yeah, they were like yeah, like knocking on the window, roll down the window, roll down the window. So yeah, he does roll down, and then pow pow pow, and then that's when they lit him up like a Christmas tree. Yeah, and it's 96 shots excessive. Probably, but if you shoot the police, that's a perfect example. You fuck around and found out, yeah, you shot at the police, you're probably gonna get shot. I'm just saying, man.
So you get pulled over for a minor traffic stop, presumably. If it's a seatbelt or a dark tint window, that's minor
It's
violations.
of course they looked into his history, like he did have he had a history of like other shit, yeah. So
Fire. So
because like what I'm just speculating, like he had a weapons violation in the past, so when he gets pulled over, he got this weapon on him, like all right, and then you're doing some serious time now because
I'm
like
not going to jail. So
going to jail. So yeah, that's just my
rather than not go to jail, you think you have a better shot at shooting it out with the police.
yeah,
Like that's
that's my speculation about what happened. Yeah, he had this gun on him, and then hey, I ain't going to jail. Pow, pow, pow.
my
Actually hit yeah, like one of the cops. Yeah, he actually got shot.
my thing that I always go back to is that you gotta have better reasoning about stuff. I don't let a 30-second or minute lapse of judgment affect your life entirely. Because a lot of stuff, if you just let it swirl around and don't do your first reaction, then you'll be better off. Like if you don't react immediately, like think about something first before you just react to that. Because okay, if he was a convicted felon, and if you have a gun and you're a convicted felon, obviously we know you're getting real time. We know that. But shooting police officers is never going to end well for anybody.
Mm.
It's just not. And like I said, like, yeah, true 96 rounds is excessive. That is, but
Yeah. But it was 4 cops, like so divide that by 4 is
like
like yeah,
25, like 100 divided by 4 is 25. So like, yeah.
something like that. It's like about 25 shots each. Yeah, which
Mhm.
is it's high, but it's even still is like if you watch the video, like if anybody like if you know anything about gunfights and everything, is like that's why you could tell who knows and who doesn't know shit about gunfights. Is like there's no such thing as warning shots and like that don't exist. Only reason you fire your gun is to kill. It's like
Intent to
to
kill,
stop
with the
the
intent to
target. Like
kill.
that's yeah. If you like, if you're not willing to like fire your gun to like stop the target, then you don't need to carry a gun. That's my opinion. It's like yeah, if you're
Mhm.
not willing to like take it that far. It's like yeah, then why even carry one?
You just hope that you never have to take no
Absolutely, yeah.
part.
Like
You
you
hope that,
yeah,
but
you hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. That's what it is.
at
Like
the end of the day, you like, okay, I'm prepared. Should shit go down, I'm prepared, but I don't want it to go down. But should it go down, I am prepared.
as the shots were going off, like the car did launch forward too. So like the threat wasn't stopped yet. He was like still like dry. Yeah. So I don't know if it was a reflex, but the car did like jump forward at one point. So like yeah. So the guy could have still been alive during that time. So yeah, you that's why the shots continue. And eventually he does like roll out of the car and then like drops to the ground and like that's what it ends right there. Yeah. Like, but yeah, it's yeah, 96 shots is a lot, but is like especially the way police are taught you definitely fire until your threat is down. It's like okay, what if you shoot
Mhm,
and then they're not down, then he like plows off and he like shoots and that kid gets shot. It's like see, it's
mhm,
like you fire till the threat is down. Like it's controversial for me to say that because when these type of shootings is always like the police are always wrong in like in the public's eyes, especially in the hood's eyes. It's like the police is wrong. But
mhm,
it's not wrong to fire at police first. It's like that's not wrong. It's like you gotta take accountability on all sides. Like yeah, like I said, the 96 shots is a lot, yeah, but
mhm.
fire rounds off at the police and shit.
Because you think about it, when people are in an emotional state, like emotions do run high. So like even with police officers, like at the end of the day, police officers are human beings. Like
And
humans
it's the
are
one
emotional
and
creatures.
one of your partners get shot is like yeah,
Humans are extremely
um,
emotional. So you see your partner who you've been, your partner been with for what, 10 years, however, I'm just making that up or whatever. I don't know like how long they were partners or, but I mean, you see that you just, ah! So it's just kind of like a reactive, like, which like we said, like the lapse in judgment
yeah.
making you fire 96 rounds, huge lapse in judgment.
Yeah, and when you think
It's
and when you're in the moment, you probably didn't realize like, well, I shot off that many. Like you don't, you know,
exactly,
you're not counting how many rounds you're getting up. It's like when you're in a gunfight, it's like
exactly.
you just shooting until like, okay, like is he moving
I
still?
mean, think about when you play these gun video games. Like I said, obviously not the same thing, but when you try and get the
Play,
target off your
you
screen,
play
you just
Area 51 and shit. For example.
Area 51 or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, shooting. Yeah, I
What's the
just
one they played on Call of Duty, whatever,
Call of Duty. Yeah, like
whatever you
I
play.
went old school with Area 50.
Yeah, Area 51 game.
Yeah, it's like
It's
you're not counting how many rounds you got off, but then like when they pull up your stats, you're like, oh, like, it took like 50 rounds to drop that character. Okay, you weren't counting it.
yeah.
Same thing.
So it's like that. And then like, okay, they pulled me over for a small violation, but I obviously have a larger violation here that can get me in a heap of trouble.
Yeah, and of course, like yeah, they showed his family on TV, like he's a good boy, like the mama, they shot my baby. They had them on.
They gotta,
I'm glad I didn't see Benjamin Crump's black ass up there. Thank I'm sure they got a lawyer though. Like I didn't see him though.
I'm just, and us as parents have to have accountability because it's like we live in a society now where we are placing blame on others rather than what we need to do at home too. We have to have accountability. Like teachers can only do so much. as a parent, you have to reinforce the stuff that the
You're
teacher
not
teaches
only
your
that,
child.
you're your child's first teacher.
You are.
Starts with you and shit.
And you gotta reinforce it. Like you can do things to encourage your children. Like I know that sometimes like lack of resources can be a challenge. I'm not saying it's not, but it's ways that you can find that you gotta get involved. Like you just can't let these kids just parent themselves. Like you just can't let I'm not sure if that was the case or whatever with them. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm just saying in a general sense, like
Yeah,
I
I don't
feel
have
like there's a
enough
lot of
have
parents
enough information
blaming.
about this Dexter Reed cat. Yeah, but
Yeah, but you
yeah,
gotta get
he had
involved.
a weapons violation from like last year. So something that just happened recently, something like that. That he got caught with a weapon before, and you get caught again. Like now, he probably was facing serious time.
Now you're a felon with a gun.
Yeah,
That's serious,
yeah. Like,
very
but
serious. But
that's the story I was reading about him. Yeah. Mm.
and then just the bottom line is like when stuff happens, like obviously, like nobody wants to see a 26-year-old person, a 26-year-old young person who has all their life to live for get gunned down by police. Nobody wants to see that.
Yeah, I'm not
That
saying he deserved it. I just say he
but
found and found out
but that
that.
doesn't mean that we as people need to go and riot. Like that no, stop. Let's stop doing that too.
Yeah, start trying to come up and get free shit. It's
Let's
like
stop doing that too. Like you going to steal Jordans does not like what is that? like
breaking, looting the Nike store on Michigan Avenue. Like, how's that? That's reparations, though. Yeah, because slavery. It's like, is
going
that
to Gucci and
yeah,
stealing
the
Gucci.
bag mile and shit, like hitting up Gucci and Louis Vuitton and all that crap. Yeah.
Because I mean it does get to a point where like, we want to enjoy like summer. We want to enjoy being out.
Oh, we're right.
Like
Then we just talked about the weather is breaking, summertime shy,
mhm.
but now you apprehensive about going downtown and walking Michigan Avenue. Like,
Like the Mac Mile
what if
is
this is the night that the looting happens? It's like I don't know.
mhm.
Remember last
Like
year
the
at
Mac
Millennium Park, they had to surround it with the barricades because like they were like wilding in Millennium Park last year,
mhm.
like jumping on like on top of buses and shit. Remember all of that shit was happening last year. Like,
It's done. Like that's like we gotta have more control of ourselves. Like
yeah,
if you shift all that like that goofy negative energy into something positive, you can actually do something worthwhile if you shift your energy into something else.
mm,
Shift it into something positive. I mean, yeah, I'm not like messed up stuff doesn't happen in the world. I'm not that person that just lives through, oh, everything is peaches and cream and everything is roses. No, everything is not roses in the world. But are you going to lay down and just continue playing victim about stuff? Or are you going to get active about like, I'm not a victim. I'm nobody's victim.
mm-mm.
I'm not like
Yeah,
I'm a winner. I'm a survivor.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
uh I'm gonna rise to the top. I'm going to. You gotta have that attitude about yourself and not be like, oh well, this is just the way it is. No, it's not just the way it is.
yeah.
And it starts by like, I mean, I always jump in with this. Like it's an election year, it starts by voting. Start voting some of these people out. That's the first part. Vote some of these people out.
And you mentioned the what I was gonna say is an election year,
And
and
I'm not even talking about the presidential because the president
who cares? Yeah,
does really well that affects us. I'm not being funny when I say that.
who cares about the president? It's like
The president is the face. It's just
that's so far beyond like that's like it's way
what's
out,
going on
so far
outside,
beyond your reach and shit. Yeah.
what's going on outside on your corner, on your block right there on the corner. If
So
people are
far
dealing
beyond your
drugs on the corner right there, the president is not going to affect that. you know.
you're far beyond your reach and shit.
So
But
you got to get
what
into
I,
your local elections.
what I was gonna say about that, we are in an election year, and it seems like every election year, some dumb shit like this happens. It's like it's basically to get you like riled up and shit. And I was like, it's always some shit every election year. Like maybe I'm wearing a tinfoil hat, but it's like yeah. It's always like said 2020 George Floyd happened. It's like,
And here's what I say about this, like
2012 was Trayvon Martin. Is like it's always some dumb shit like this with these election years.
what happened in 16.
16, I gotta look back. It's like
Hillary had hot sauce in her bag, so that's what happened in 16.
I'm pretty sure it's some bullshit like this too. I just
Hillary had hot sauce.
those ones I remember off the top of my head. Like I'm like, yeah, it's
Okay,
always
the only thing I give a damn about is okay, let's get this inflation under control. Let's lower these let's lower these house rates.
taxes, baby.
Let's lower these taxes.
I want some put some of my money back in my pocket. Yeah.
Let's lower these taxes. Let's adjust some of these systems to ensure fairness across the board for like these unions with certain topics. Let's do that. Let's try to fix some healthcare stuff because healthcare is out of control. Let's try to adjust that. I'm not saying necessarily universal healthcare, but let's try to where a person has to choose between, okay, I'm going to eat, am I going to eat or am I don't have to pay for medication? Like that shouldn't, let's fix that. And let's fix this college because like these kids having to pay, I don't want to have to pay $8,000 a year for each child to go to college. I don't want to have to do that. But if it keeps going down this path, then that could be my future. Is that I might have to pay $8,000 a year for college for my kids. I don't want to do that. Let's fix that.
Definitely down there. Yeah.
Let's fix these numbers. Let's adjust that.
But the city they probably gonna as typically like so our taxes are probably gonna go up in Chicago. Like they gonna sue the city, like probably hopefully not with Benjamin Crump's ass because he's a fucking douchebag. But so they probably got a lawyer, they're gonna sue the city. It's like and then they're gonna settle like so they're gonna get like a multi-million-dollar settlement. Yeah, that's probably what's gonna happen. I don't know if any charges are gonna be filed against the police
Let's
because
stop doing
the
that
video I
because
saw, like I said, he fired first. The
the
videos.
taxpayers, like we shouldn't be put on the brunt of it. And then the ones who get hosed the most in the tax system is the middle class. The middle class is like who's getting taxed the most. So
Are the ones that are suffering the most for it. Because
yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, like that's the
ones
ones
on the
who's carrying the bulk
high
of
end,
it.
ones on the high end know all of the tax like
They
loop,
know all the tax loopholes.
and then the low end you really don't pay tax under a certain amount. You're not paying shit.
Yeah. So the middle class is the one who's getting hosed with all this stuff because it's like they don't have the breaks. They don't have the,
Yeah,
and everything is going up steadily. Everything is
inflation's out of
rising.
control.
Everything is rising. So
Inflation's out of control.
where once making $100,000 a year, you were once rich. Now it's like, okay, I'm getting by in certain cities. You're just getting by.
Getting by like an awful 90s sitcom.
Shit, in New York, you're not even getting by on $100,000. Not in New York and California. You're not even because living in both of those states, yikes. Cost of living there is ridiculous. But
But just don't tear up the fucking city. That's what
yeah,
that's all
I
I ask for. I don't think that's too
I
much.
mean, it's summer. We want to be outside. Like I said, this year, like I said, we're finally starting to feel like pre-COVID again. You see what I mean? Stuff is starting to feel
Enough
back
time has
normal.
passed. Like, yeah, that stuff is like last year was the first year that I felt like it was a normal summer. So like stuff is getting back to normal now. Yeah.
Because like everything is at full capacity now. It's like you may see some people still wear a mask here or there, but it's
Yeah.
like
I still see people do that. I'm like, hey, do you, homie?
it's
It's
your
like
prerogative. Yeah, do it. Do what makes you feel
Michael Jackson
comfortable.
wore one 30 years ago. Like, do you, homie?
Yeah, do what makes you feel comfortable. But nothing is like limited to where it's like, oh, it's 50% capacity, it's 20% capacity, it's everything is 100%
No
capacity.
lines outside of Walmart. It's like, yeah,
No.
only letting like 20 people in at a time. It's like when Walmart was the club and shit. Yeah, it was a nightclub. Yeah, it was a line outside of fucking Walmart.
And then you gotta walk in the aisle like the one way with the one
Out of
arrow.
aisle, which almost nobody
Which
abided.
no one did.
Almost nobody abided by that shit. It's like, yeah. But yeah, just don't tear the city. Okay, I don't think that's too much to ask.
Yeah, we gotta do better.
We're talking police and lawyers and all of that. Like, let's talk about the most the what they call it the trial of the century. we'll go back. Rest in peace, going out to Orenthal James Simpson, better known as
Known
OJ.
as OJ, the Juice Man.
Yeah, OJ Simpson, 76. Was it prostate cancer, I believe?
I believe so. I didn't even know he had cancer. I didn't know that.
It was like, yeah, like, he didn't publicize
He
which was his
kept that guard.
prerogative. His
I think that
prerogative.
they said briefly maybe on his Twitter, like or X last year, like he really said that he like he mentioned kind of in passing, like, oh, I had a thing, but I'm good or something. Like he just kind of like
I didn't
because
follow.
we know that paparazzi are nosy. So like if they see you coming from like, wait a minute, they're coming from Dr. So-and-so's office. Dr. So-and-so is known, he's an oncologist and he treats cancer. So let's see, what does he have? It's like you can't pry into people's like, yes, people are celebrities, but at the end of the day, people are still people. So if you see someone coming out of a clinic or coming out of like a doctor's office, then trying to figure out what their ailments are is
OJ might be like the poster child for like troubled legacy or like problematic legacies is what I'm calling. Because on one hand, like he is like one of the greatest running backs ever. It's like, I put OJ in top five. I'll say yeah.
we know who your personal favorite
Oh
is.
yeah, I'm gonna drop my top. My five and no. The one is like the others are no particular order, but like it's Peyton,
Sweetness. Mhm.
Jim Brown, Barry Sanders, OJ, and probably Emmett. I'll put like Emmett Smith. Like that's what I.
Hmm.
That's my five. Is like yeah, but the other four are definitely like yeah. That's the Mount Rushmore of running back to me. OJ, Barry Sanders, Walter Payton, and Jim Brown. That's my
And the sweetness is always your one. Like Chicago, we gotta. We're biased over here.
running backs. That's my Mount Rushmore. Those four is like it. But that fifth one can kind of rotate. I put Emmett because the Cowboys had a dominant run in the '90s, so
Hmm.
that's him there. Yeah.
I know somebody that played with OJ in college back in the day, I think. Like
Uh,
somebody that I used to work with like back in the day because he was talking about OJ, like, yeah, you played with him back.
yeah, he was yeah he
I
was
was like,
killing motherfuckers on the field. Too soon.
too soon. The memes are what just got me. Like somebody put a meme of like him driving the white Bronco into heaven. Somebody had that meme, and I'm like the memes are just too much right now. But I would say troubled legacy. I don't believe in, you know, speaking ill of deceased or like
Some
going in
people
and
did.
talking about.
I saw the people like post karma. Like, is it really karma? He like 30 years, like he lived another 30 years. It's not really karma.
Right,
It's like karma would have been him dying like the next year after that cancer, like right after that shit happened.
right.
It's like but dude lived another 30 years
And he
essentially.
lived a good life, seemingly. Well, I mean, he did go to
He
jail
was incarcerated, yeah, for like
briefly, but I mean,
accident, like the kidnapping charge and that
he
shit.
he relatively lived a good life.
Yeah, outside of his incarceration, like he lived a good life. Yeah.
Yeah, he relatively lived a good life, and yeah, so like one of my friends and I were talking about, so like, because like that was honestly the trial of the century. Like, obviously, like I said, none of us were
Name a
around.
bigger trial than that. Like I can't. Like that was the one.
None of us were around, obviously, when the Lizzie Borden thing happened. So like when they was comparing that, saying like Lizzie Borden was like basically the first OJ trial because it was a like who done it. And then when OJ happened, then it was like, oh, this because that was the first time we saw 24-hour court TV.
Our dad was obsessed
Because
with.
our dad was obsessed with it. Like
Watch.
dad was
He had
Judge Ito. Dad was watching Judge
yeah
Ito every
yeah
day.
he had court TV locked in. He had no other channels existed during that time. It was his court TV was all he watched during
And
that.
we come home, I'm like, you still watching this? Like,
Because our mom would be like, yeah, like so obsessed with that stupid trial. Like so mom, she get over shit quick. Like she like, okay, I want to watch if I'm watching Judge, well, he wasn't on, I want to watch Judge Mathis. That's what I want to watch. She like, yeah.
almost watching all my children seeing Jesse and Angie.
Or watching Family Feud or something. She was either watching a game show or a fucking soap opera. Like
All my children, what
I
she was watching.
want to watch Jeopardy. Like, mom, she'd be like her game shows and shit. Like, so she turned that OJ shit off. I'm trying to watch. You're making me miss Jeopardy. God damn it.
I'm watching Oprah.
Like, you want to watch something else. It's like,
Oprah.
like the trial, but yeah, that dominated dad was like every night he was like, because he
But it
worked
was
nights, so yeah, he spent his days watching that shit. It's like
watching that. Like, so you should be sleeping. Like, you should be getting some rest. But
enough
no,
sleep
I'm
to
watching
watch
OJ.
OJ.
I'm watching OJ. I don't
But
need sleep.
again,
I'm
it
watching
makes sense
OJ.
because OJ was his generation. Like
Yeah.
see, like OJ, like that's before our time. It's like OJ is like
Yeah, that's
it
before us.
was Nordberg to me and shit. It's
Yeah, he was Nuremberg.
or like
Yeah.
the guy running through Hertz is like that's the OJ I know. Like the guy on the Hertz guy and Nordberg from the Naked Gun. It's like that.
Hmm.
Like I didn't OJ as a player. Like nah, that was like my dad's time. So it'd be like Jordan being on trial for us. It's like we be watching, we be glued to the screen like that. It'd be like that. It's like that's the good equivalent. Like Jordan was on trial for like killing the Juanita and a random guy. It's like we'd be like we wouldn't want to miss any of that shit. It's like
One person who hasn't said nothing is Kato Kaelin. He hasn't said shit.
trial is.
He hasn't said shit.
And like you look back, it's like at all of that shit is like because it's still like a debate out there. Even though most people say he did it, that was like, I thought then in '95 he did it. It's like
Here's my here's my thing about how all the thing broke down. So um it was a lot going on during the actual chase because that was the night of
NBA
the
Finals, the
NBA Finals.
game 5 between Houston and New York. I want to say, I think it was game 5. Yeah,
It was the NBA Finals on
which I
that
was
night.
watching and I was pissed off. I'm like, yeah,
They were doing
I was
cut-in.
I was bombed. I was like, get this shit off the screen. I'm trying to watch basketball. Just like the nice, but the height of my fandom. This is '90s basketball. Fuck OJ. It's like, yeah, I want to watch the fucking game. It's like,
And I remember us. So then the next year, I was in high school when they did the trial. I remember we watched the trial in class. Like we were watching that in our class. Like they rolled the TV out with the with the
with
thing
the
on
attached
it
VCR, yeah.
with the attached VCR.
Me,
Yes, I'm
I
that
was
old. They
working.
rolled
I'm
the
about to
TV out.
I'm about to make it really like old school in '90s with me. That was when I was working at Mrs. Fields, so I was working at the mall when
You
this
work at
trial
the
was going
mall.
on. Yeah,
Mhm.
and I would run out to the car and like I had to
And
listen
listen
to
in.
that dude was radio 780 like
You
that
just click,
listen
click,
like
click to turn your radio, turn the dial.
I legit went on break like when the verdict was coming in. I didn't want to miss like
Mhm. You been
whatever. I said I'm taking my break now. I'm going up to the car. I gotta hear this shit. It's
legit.
like,
They had the TV rolled in when they was like, we have reached a verdict, and then we were sitting there in class. We were in our
they
English
had
class.
stores with TVs on, but it was like too many motherfuckers there. So I just went to the car. I was like,
We went to the car.
listen, it's
We
like
were we were in our English/humanities class, and we were like this.
I was in my
We were
Ford
like
LTD listening to news radio 780. It's like that's
we were sitting in class like
a young man is like with his first car. Like
we were sitting like this.
so I didn't get the reaction how like because I was in the car like and then when I came back in you got the aftermath but like some people cheered some people didn't cheer it's like me I was like oh well,
We
motherfucker
were
got off
like
like, I was like
we were like whoa, like that was our reaction. I want to say we were like whoa, like man, whoa. It was kind of like that was our reaction as because like I said we were high school still, so we were young. So I mean we were like whoa the way we reacted,
I
but.
was like right out of high school during that time.
Yeah. So I mean, we were young. We were young.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were teens. We were young. So yeah. But
Yes,
um
yeah, I definitely went on break to hear the verdict. I remember that for
but yeah, but seeing that, so my thing is where stuff is getting petty now. They said that the Goldmans are trying to still get the payment from OJ's estate, even though he's
I was
deceased
just
now.
about to say,
Like,
but OJ never paid. He never really.
but I'm like, that's
I'm but put yourself in the Goldman shoes of like if it was your son. Well, when you try to get the money, it's like
that's and that's my thing. That's why I said this is a mixed bag because it's like, wow.
because OJ
Well,
won, he beat the criminal trial, like he got acquitted, but he lost the civil
the
trial.
simple,
Owed millions is like but he was able to get it because his pension was protected. It wasn't part of it.
which is kind
He
of
did
wacky
like
because
sell like so he did like they got a few items like his Heisman Trophy and like some small items, but he still owed like a bit. Like let's say he paid like 30% of that bill, you still owe 70% of that verdict to him. Yeah.
But that's it. But that whole thing is just kind of wacky, where it's like you can be convicted on one side and not convicted. Like that's wacky to
Yeah.
me. Like I still don't understand how that works.
Is the
You
court
know,
system is
of
like
course,
it's
that's
like
still that's
the burden of proof is more is tougher on the criminal trial because that's the one
mhm.
you have to prove that he actually
Yeah, you
did.
gotta see proof without a shadow of a doubt. You gotta prove it.
But
If it's this much
burden
reasonable doubt,
the burden of
you can
proof
get
is
out.
like is lesser on the civil because it's about money.
Mhm.
It's not about going to jail for life. Like it's like or getting the
About
death
being
penalty even.
paid,
It's
yeah.
like yeah, it's about
But
so
the whole
the burden of
thing,
proof is
well,
less.
this is where it's a mixed bag at, because it's like if you are a person and you have lost a child, especially as a parent, like no parent wants to bury their child. So it's like if you lose a child, especially
The worst.
in
Gotta
a
be the worst.
brutally murdered way, like I said, losing your child in an accident, that's still hard, but I mean, accidents happen.
Especially him, like he didn't have shit to do with this. Like the story was like he's was the waiter at the restaurant that
Return some glasses.
returning her glasses. She had left them at the restaurant. Yeah, I was like that's what yeah, like
Somebody left some glasses and then
because they had ate there that night. Yeah, and she left her
mhm.
glasses, so he was returning the glasses and like ran into OJ's knife when he came.
Well, we ran to the killer's knife, we'll say.
Yeah, the killer
But
whose initials start with O and was
stop. But so it's like, okay, so then that happening to this young man, obviously horrible, and that's a pain that that's a hole in your heart you'll never fill. But it's like if somebody owes a debt and then they die, like creditors, like you get what I'm saying? It's like can creditors come to you and say, like, hey, they never paid off that big screen TV, so we need the money. You get what I'm saying? It's like kind of
well, like if you owe like student loan debt, like are you still on the hook for that shit if you die? Like,
right. Like, okay, yeah, we know.
that's debt you can't even bankrupt your way out of that shit. It's like
No. Like, yeah, we know back in
can
1996 you
can
took
you
out this
die and
loan.
get out of the student loan debt? Like is that a thing? I
Mom
got
said one of her friends when she was teaching she had to resolve it. Like she owed debt from the 70s and then she had to make a resolution before she could renew her teacher certificate because it was like you still had this debt from 1970, whatever. And I'm like, they dug it out from the 70s?
mom did the most savage shit ever. It's like with because dad had owed like some money and she just put he does not live here and put the address for the
For the
cemetery.
cemetery. Yeah.
That debtor never
And
called
they
back.
never contacted.
He
So,
got the message.
I mean, when mom said that she did, oh yeah, he resides at so because she gave the address of the cemetery. She didn't say the name, she just gave the address, which sounded like a real address.
When they contacted, they realized who was the
It
fucking
was a cemetery. And then I was just like, wow, that's a morbid kind of sister. I mean, I kind of chuckled a little bit because
Whatever he
I'm like,
wasn't
that's
working. Shit, yeah.
I
They
mean,
never called back. Yeah.
they never called her back because so that's like my thing about them trying to get because it's like, is it kind of like, especially like OJ, like he died, like he just died. So I mean he's not even in the ground yet. So it's kind of like is that kind of
It was two-sided. Like on one, but on the flip
I say
side,
it's a mixed bag. I say it's a
flip
mixed
side, he
bag.
never
It
get
is.
paid his debt off.
It is a
He
mixed
won
bag.
like
And then
however many million, and he only paid a portion of it.
the question that people are speculating, they like, did OJ finally admit, like did he admit it on his deathbed? Did he finally admit to somebody? Did he say what happened or
Like,
whatever the case may
because he was
be?
with his family, like I think
Yeah,
they
with his family, his children, his grandchildren were by his bedside when he passed.
he said,
So
by the way, yeah, I did that shit. Like,
here's the thing about why it makes it so why his legacy is tarnished, sadly,
complicated
because
legacy. That might be what
because
we call this, like complicated legacy. That might be what we call it.
the big thing is that he like okay, like I was with the whole thing because like just saying, okay, just because he had abusive stuff with his ex-wife in the past and everything doesn't mean he necessarily killed her. And even when they were presenting the evidence in the trial, like, okay, it was a lot of circumstantial, it was nothing that was concrete. And
Yo,
then
so
when that
heavily circumstantial, and plus, the
racist cop
I
took the stand,
was just about to say the Mark Furman issue, yeah, as well
yeah, I
too.
couldn't think of his name. Thank you. I couldn't think of
Mark
his name.
Furman issue,
Mark Furman, yeah. That racist
I'll just
cop,
break down this whole thing. Like the
because he was
evidence,
racist as hell. He was racist. That cop was racist. Like I said, I don't play.
and he probably did plant evidence. Like I said, it's
I'm not a person who plays the race card, but that cop was racist. That cop was. He was very racist.
and he
And Johnny
probably
Cochran, being the smart lawyer that he was, he picked up on that. And he
which is
delved into that.
which
Like,
is
oh,
why
okay, I'm gonna delve into
Which
this.
is why Cochran took over like mid trial because like it was Shapiro's trial. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
And then
Yeah, Kardashian was just there.
once the yeah
Robert was just
before
there.
you can count it's like it was Shapiro and Cochran and some other guy who gives a
Yeah,
fuck.
Robert was just there. So he was just there.
Yeah,
That was his friend. That's why he was there. He was
but
his friend.
like Shapiro, but then once like race became it, then they switched, they
He
pivoted.
switched it.
Cochran became the point man. Like, they switched.
Cochran had the he was like Jesse Jackson and Muhammad Ali all rolled into one because he had the rhymes and he was, Cochran was going where he had the, he was cool. He had it. We still say if it doesn't fit, you must have quit. We still say that to this day because he had the rhymes.
But
The gloves, yeah.
first
But yeah, so like I said, he probably did plant some shit and did some stuff
because
because
cops do that. Like, here's the thing, not necessarily to frame you because if they believe you're guilty already, so if they plant this, they're trying to get a confession. That's
they
why.
wanted smoking
Like, hey,
done.
we found this glove at the scene. It's like they trying to like get you to
They try
confess.
to coax you into a confession because
That way,
sometimes
if you say something about the glove, that they say, yeah, well, I planted. That's if you say, oh yeah, like I draw this such like you admit to like shit that yeah that they the cops like the cops are like they're allowed to lie to witnesses, especially during interrogation.
yeah, to coax
Say like I was
a confession,
your
yeah.
alibi. You say like I was at such and such, and they say yeah, we know we have a witness that said that you were there.
Well, we have a cell phone camera that shows that
Yeah.
you weren't there.
That places you at the scene is that places you at the scene of like the crime. Yeah, we have a witness that saw you here, and if you change your story, then that's how they get you. If you stick to your story, then it's like yeah, well, your witness is full of shit because I wasn't there. Then you probably telling the truth. Then it's like,
And then here's the thing that I said, man, anytime that you say this, I want a lawyer. Anytime you say
well,
that, it
the
ends.
lawyer's already present with all of this. It's not like Law and Order. You have
I want a lawyer.
most
Oh,
people
I
have
watch
the
the
lawyer
lawyer.
before your lawyer's there before this even starts. Like typically, they
Don't
don't.
get coaxed into stuff. Bottom line, don't get coaxed into stuff.
But like
But
are allowed to lie. Yeah. Like planting evidence, I don't know about that, but they are allowed to lie. I know that for a fact. Is like cops can like lie to like because like typically like most like I said like most cases don't go to trial. Like most of them like settle. It's like yeah, because like
yeah,
okay, you're looking at 30 years, like we're offering 10. It's like so like that's
yeah.
why like most of and they figure that I did this shit anyway, so I might as well do my 10. It's like that's like
Mhm.
typically like yeah,
Rather than roll the dice and go to trial and then get life.
yeah,
That can happen.
especially if you know you did the shit. It's
Right, that can happen.
like I shot that motherfucker, so like
But
yeah.
some people do want to try. I want to take my chances in the trial, like, because I want to get acquitted.
Or they watch Law and Order, they think, or they watch OJ and like, but OJ had $1 million lawyers like working for him and shit. You got Lionel Hutz,
And he had fame. He was a celebrity too, so
yeah,
people tend to look at celebrity different. Yeah.
celebrity privilege, and you got like high priced lawyers, like yeah,
Mhm. You have Lionel Hutz. Meanwhile, your lawyer
your little public defender and shit like Lionel.
who's getting paid $60,000 a year to defend you.
Right. Got like 20 other cases he's working on simultaneously and shit. It's like
Yeah.
your little public defender you got is like so you probably gonna get that 30 years if you go to trial.
hmm But
Most of them settle, but like that's why they try to get confessions. That's why cops are allowed to lie. And that's what
mhm.
the whole Mark Furman thing, like, cause I believe he did plant that glove. Like the glove
Yeah,
wasn't at OJ's house. Like yeah. It's
yeah.
like yeah, he probably planted it. They probably did find the glove at the murder scene at Nicole's like place, but or he just planted it, whatever. Like, but the glove was planted. The glove wasn't found at OJ's house. Like that shit was planted by Mark Furman. I 100% believe that shit.
The People versus OJ was good that they did on FX with Cuba and Courtney
Courtney
Vance,
Vance, Johnny
John
Cochran.
Travolta. It was good. It was really good.
Yeah.
He played
Oh
Johnny
yeah,
Cochran.
he
He
won a
was
fucking Emmy for that
Courtney
shit.
Vance was damn good as Johnny Cochran. He
Won
was
an
damn
Emmy for
good.
that shit. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was a good insight to show that, and they even still they left it up for interpretation at the end because at David Schwimmer was Rob Kardashian, and even his thing was saying like the thing that just still puzzled was something about like how something in it like fiber or blood something was in the something was, and he was like I just still can't like how did that get there like because
It
he
was
was
blood found inside of the Bronco. That was true.
yeah,
Yeah.
because he was with it like until that, because he was like OJ didn't do it, OJ didn't do it. But then when he was like he just couldn't wrap his head around that one detail, because even Robert at the end of that series, he was like, I still can't figure that. That's the thing that he couldn't figure out was just that one.
OJ was coming here to Chicago. People don't realize that he had some
Yeah, he
appearance he was
was.
making like the following day. So he was catching a red eye flight like that after right after that. And his behavior was real strange during that shit. Like his driver that was taking him to the airport showed up. They said that he circled around. He saw that was like in like the way the driveway was is like there's no way he would have missed the Bronco. You circle out was no Bronco, and then when you come back, the Bronco was there. Like it's like where was the Bronco? Like yeah, or like what it was, and it was during the time like of the murders would have been happening when the Bronco wasn't in front of his house, and then it's just there when he circles black back. It's like it was a lot of like inconsistencies. So like then Kato Kalin like he was like staying in OJ's guest
Yeah, the
house.
house guest. Yeah, he was the house
Yes.
guest. Yeah.
And he mentions like yeah I don't remember what time he came home and like all of that just like
He was
because
supposed to wake him up for the red eye or something.
he had his
And
flight he was coming to Chicago yeah
yeah.
yeah. And the driver said that OJ did have like it was like a bag that he wouldn't let him touch or nothing. Yeah. So was that like
Mhm.
the bloody clothes that he was like so like it's like what was in that bag that he like oh like I'm like don't touch this one. And then the bag wasn't with OJ at the airport. It's like when he like yeah the bag like when he gets when he like boards the plane like he lands in Chicago there's no bag. So did he ditch that bag at some point like in a random dumpster? Let's say like he ditched it. Yeah.
Yeah, so because there was a lot going on with that. So whether
A lot of like I said
a
circumstantial
lot of circumstantial and a lot of holes that were kind of there, but
kind of
like
like I quote like on The Simpsons is like OJ probably did it, but they couldn't prove it though,
mhm. It's
which
like,
is
but
why he's
we'll
acquitted. Is why he's acquitted.
like I said, we'll never know the truth because I said now he's deceased and like we'll never know the truth. And like I said, the closest we came, but
He
going
wrote
back to the whole
if
thing
I
about
did it was a
that's what I'm about to say. Why it's so complicated because
he wrote a book.
okay, he necessarily because they had a sordid past and the stuff that happened with his ex-wife and then the fact that she got murdered, but then he went on trial, he was acquitted. He was acquitted. In a court of law, he was acquitted. So that means that they saw that it wasn't enough evidence to prove that he did
OJ
it.
technically did nothing wrong, like
But
legally.
then when he wrote the book, that's when I kind of was like, I couldn't G like when he wrote that book, I was like the book felt like kind of like a taunt to me. That's what it felt like. I was like, he wrote a book that said if I did it.
Okay, I'm looking at the trial, like the details now. I pulled it up. Yeah, it's like they were at
But that was
their
so
daughter's recital. Was like how this whole thing started on the day of the murders, like June 12th. And then they went to family went to the Brown family went to dinner like without OJ afterwards. Like it was at the restaurant where Goldman worked, so I got that part right. She does leave glasses behind. Yeah. Now Nicole's mother's glasses. That's what it was there. So it was
her
like
mom left her glasses. I
mom's
knew it was her.
glasses. Yeah. And then Ron, he because he knew Nicole, I guess because they were regulars at that restaurant, they had become
Right.
friendly. Yeah. So he said, "Oh yeah, I'll drop him off." Yeah. So that's how he ended up in this. So like I said, he had nothing to do with any of this. Like had probably never met OJ or none of that shit. Yeah, he had nothing to do with any of this. And then OJ OJ yeah was hanging out with Kato Kalin. I'm reading that part. Was living in OJ's guest house. And then the Browns named a dog started barking profusely, like that's probably when the murders were taking place. The dog walker was actually the one who found the bodies. Like they said, somebody out was like with their dog, and dogs like pick up on shit like that. Yeah. We find the OJ part is like, yeah, where OJ's strange behavior and shit. Yeah.
Well, that I said that's just like my biggest thing. It's like I said, hey, you're not reading that book, then it's like, okay, he got acquitted.
Yeah.
he got it. But then when he wrote the book, it was just kind of like, and then it seemed like he kind of like relished in the fact that you get what he said. He
He's
kind of
like,
was like
yeah, because yeah,
he played the villain. Like,
he liked being the villain. It's
yeah,
like
people villainized him anyway. So
he
then he
embraced
like
it.
that.
It's like, yeah,
So he embraced it, and that's what made people upset. Like I said, especially a certain community got really upset about that. So but rejoicing that he died, like that's like you shouldn't rejoice if somebody dies. That's doing too much. I'm looking at you, Caitlin. Because Caitlin put her 2 cents in saying good riddance. That's what Caitlin tweeted out after OJ died. And that was the tweet. And then Caitlin was flamed in the comments
we
like,
talking about Caitlyn Jenner too, not Caitlyn Clark. Leave her ass
yeah,
alone.
Caitlyn Jenner was flamed mercilessly. The comment section didn't disappoint them. People brought up the 2015 accident when they was like, weren't you involved in a vehicular?
I was
Didn't you kill somebody in a car
that
accident? Didn't
was
you kill somebody?
technically that was Bruce. That wasn't Caitlyn, but close enough.
It was like, didn't you kill somebody in 2015? And then that's when Caitlyn had to kind of like clearly like, well, this is what happened. My car accident is like not the same as that. This is what happened in my car. It just like the bottom line is that the internet never forgets. So people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, and people don't forget. So
Yeah, OJ was taking a red eye flight from LAX to Chicago O'Hare, I believe. Yeah,
yeah,
a golf. It was a golf. It was golf here in Chicago for Hertz. Yeah, because like he was part of this
a
like Hertz.
celebrity kind of a celebrity
So he was like representing Hertz in like this whatever this golf thing. Where
celebrity tournament. Because remember we saw one when we were going to our cousin's house. We saw one
yeah.
of those golf things that were going on. Yeah.
So OJ's his ride to the airport arrived. Yeah, the limousine drove around and like I said, yeah, like it would like if the Bronco was parked where it would have where he saw it the second time, he would have seen it the first time. It was in a place where you couldn't have missed it, basically. So that was suspicious. Yeah, there was a lot of suspects that's circumstantial, but we can't say for sure that he did this. Around the time a shadowy figure headed towards the other side. It's like it's which was that OJ a shadowy figure like basically coming through the other door, not the front door, like through the side door. He saw a shadowy figure like slip in, it's like and act like he was there the whole time. They said he was like his behavior was strange. He was covered in sweat and all of that shit. Like OJ was he was acting
He was acting erratic and
very
stuff.
strangely that night on the before going to the airport. He was acting very strangely. Yeah.
So that's an answer that we'll never get. And like I said, and he's passed on now. So like you said, once again, complicated legacy, like one of the greatest running backs ever, but
Mm.
and had a good acting career. He had a good, he had a good because he did the Naked Gun movie, so he had a good career going there too after football. He was a spokesperson for Hertz.
Yeah.
Like he had a good career. Like I said,
He
because like
also was doing some sports broadcast. I think he was with NBC. Yeah, he was doing that.
it's hard for a lot of times when once people transition out, like especially like professional athletes, it's like, what do you do after because like by the time you're 35, your career is over for most athletes. 35, you're still very young. So what are you going to do the rest of your life?
Yeah.
A lot of people have trouble transitioning to that next stage in life, and he transitioned easily to his next stage after football.
Yeah.
So
It's the fascinating part I was talking about. OJ had 4 bags in the car when he loaded his luggage. He wouldn't let the driver touch the one bag like in question. But at the airport, they said he only checked 3 bags. So yeah, where's the fourth bag? It's a lot of inconsistencies with this story. Is fact, and now I see why this shit was so fascinating. This trial is like even now, like reading the details, it's like fascinating, like reading this shit. But yeah, the glove was probably planted by Mark Furman. I believe that shit. It's like,
but like we said, once again, complicated, legacy because the kids, especially like the younger kids, like I said, if you were born like during the trial or like right after the trial, like that's all OJ has is this guy who got off of murder, this guy who got away with murder. That's what you like. That's what younger people are gonna say.
And then the Bronco chase, all of that shit, like he was suicidal, like he did leave a suicide note. So like that, a lot of people say that leads to his guilt too. Was like, yeah, it's like basically like I'm sorry and all of that's like
Mhm.
what's all that. So like
Bizarre behavior, yeah.
it's like was a Bronco or Hertz rental like too soon now.
But we'll never know. We just won't.
We'll never know that shit. Well,
So you
fascinating
can
case regardless.
so you can have your opinions and but we won't know and we never will and stop
Personally, probably did it, but we'll never know.
stop saying mean things and karma and good riddance and goofy stuff like that. It's like it's not any of that, but go off if you want to.
Yeah, this is wild. Read through all of that shit like when I get a chance. Read the OJ notes and all
I need Cliff Notes because I can't. I'm not reading all that.
pages of shit. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I just need Cliff Notes of that.
I think we can wrap on that note. Very,
Yes.
very fascinating case. Yeah. Even now, 30 years later, it's still fascinating.
Mhm.
The details because like it looks if you post this evidence like with but remove the names, put like yeah John Doe or whatever, like people will probably think that he was guilty, but OJ like changed his shit. It's like yeah because
Mhm.
of his celebrity status and with us because he was black and all of that shit. It's like a lot.
Mhm.
That's what like Chris Rock said. Black folks celebrated like we won and all of that. It's like
That was weird.
yeah. Folks was like electric sliding in the street and shit.
That was like just like that. I never understood why people did that. That was just really just too much.
Wow. But I believe then he did it in 95. I believe even more now he probably did. But it was never proven. But my opinion, yeah, I think he did it. But I think we'll wrap this up on that note. Not another damn podcast, 358. Definitely appreciate you. Complicated legacy, yeah. You want to support us further, you know what to do. Give us a like. Also, subscribe, share, rate, review on all your platforms, talking Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, SoundCloud, iHeart, TLC, Talk Radio, YouTube, and your Amazon Alexa devices. Follow me at Ozman the Wizard on Instagram, TikTok and X, and Oz Radio on Snapchat and Facebook as well.
And you can check me out, MSIMA8626 on Instagram, TikTok, and X. Also, SCR8GLEY1 on X, SCR8GLEY7 on Instagram. Also, please like the Straight Gully Facebook fan page. Check out straightgully.com for your blogs and your vlogs.
Hey, and that's what it is. I'm Ozman the Wizard.
And Naima.
We will talk to you later.
Bye.
I'm gone.